Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Breffney Early and you're listening to the Sports Preview Show here on the podcast. It's episode 222 and today it is brought to you in association with the local enterprise office here in County Leitrim. Of course, they are currently running a online trading voucher campaign to get as many of our small and medium-sized businesses up and running on a virtual platform to try and grow their opportunities to sell in this modern world. If you want more information on that scheme, you can get in touch with them directly at localenterprise.ie/Leitrim. And also, if you want help and don't know where to start in terms of developing a platform for yourself and your business, get in touch with us here at Leitrim Daily. We would love to help you set that up. We can, of course, be contacted on any of our social medias at Leitrim Daily, but also by email info@leitrimdaily.com. Now, this weekend, it's a little bit of limbo at the moment. Two clubs came out in the last 24 hours to announce that they have been... Well, let's read the statements. Two clubs, Carrick Town FC and Kiltubrid GAA and Ladies Gaelic Football Association clubs have come out with statements. I'll read them to you. In terms of Kiltubrid, it's a joint statement from the GAA club and the Ladies Football Club. As a precautionary measure, all activity within Kiltubrid GAA and LGFA at both underage and adult levels has been suspended for 48 hours from this evening, 3rd of September 2020. That's last night, Thursday evening. This is due to one member of both clubs today being identified as a close contact of an individual who has tested positive for COVID-19. We will update all club members of any developments on the above over the next 48 hours. Please keep following public health guidance at all times. Thank you and stay safe. That's the statement that has been issued by Kiltubrid Ladies and Kiltubrid GAA Club. It's very, very similar to what has come out of Carrick Town this afternoon, and they also published a statement on their Facebook page which reads, Carrick Town FC are suspending all club activities for the coming weekend, September 5th and 6th at all levels. We have two club members that have been in close contact with a confirmed COVID-19 case, and we're taking this step as a precautionary measure. We will update all club members with any further developments over the coming days, and in the meantime, please continue to follow HSE guidelines. Thank you. Both those statements issued in the last 24 hours. Two clubs down, unfortunately, this weekend. But I suppose from a public health point of view, it's great to see clubs being so proactive and making sure that their members are safe in this environment. It's an unfortunate situation. It's one that we may have probably predicted we might have encountered over the last few weeks. Here's hoping that everybody is well and recovers from that, and that the cases don't spread through our communities over the coming days and weeks. Stay safe, keep washing your hands, and wear face masks where possible in public. In terms of the actual sport this weekend, that of course does throw one of the major events of the weekend into a little bit of a question mark situation. Kiltubrid ladies were due to field a team in the semi-final of the Senior Football Championship in the Ladies Gaelic Football competition here in the county. Technically, the throw-in is after that 48-hour period, so I suppose it will depend on whether that test comes back positive or negative for that person who is that link in that close contact with the confirmed COVID case. So time will tell, but at this moment in time, the game does go ahead on Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. in Leitrim Village. We'll be talking about that later in the programme. Now the fixtures for the weekend, starting with Ladies Gaelic Football. Their Senior Football Championship reaches the penultimate stage with those semi-finals on Sunday afternoon. The first game is a repeat of last year's county final. St Joseph's and Glencar Manor Hamilton do battle in Drumshambo at 1 p.m, while Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins are due to play Kiltubrid in Leitrim Village, throw in at 3:30. That game dependent on the COVID situation in Kiltubrid. Currently that suspension will run right through to Saturday evening. So the game after the suspension deadline, but it will remain to be seen how that plays out over the next couple of days. So keep in touch with your clubs and they will let you know what the circumstances are with that game. Of course, regardless, the game is closed to supporters, so it won't affect supporters of clubs, but it will affect the teams. One other game at senior level, and that's the relegation playoff between St Bridget's and St Francis, and that will take place in Ballinamore at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. In the Intermediate Championship, we have Mull versus St Mary's Kiltard in Clune at 11 a.m. and St Patrick's Dromahair versus Kiltubrid GAA. That game in Leitrim Village at 12 noon. Both of those in the McGovern Brothers London Ladies Intermediate Football Championship semi-final ladies football competition in the county, while the junior semi-finals will also take place on Sunday. Both games throwing in at 4 p.m. Drumkieran versus St Joseph's B in Clune at 4 p.m, while Glencar Hamilton B will face Fina St Collins in Drumshambo. Again, that game throwing in at 4 p.m. And there are some action at junior level in men's football this weekend. In the Vistamed Junior A Football Championship, Gortletra and Glencar Manor Hamilton will meet in Gortletra. Clune versus Glenfarn Kilty will play in Clune. Ohawillan versus St Mary's Kiltard will be in Ohawillan. And finally, Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins will travel to Ohavas to play their last games in the Junior A Football Championship group stages. Those games all throwing in at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday evening. So the very best luck to all of those Junior A championships. They'll find out who they face should they progress to quarterfinals at the end of this particular stage of the championship. Now on Sunday there is also some action in the Vistamed Junior B and C Football Championship. Starting with the B grade, St Mary's Kiltard will play Sean O'Heslins in Parknevmoor in Carrick and Shannon at 1:30. Fina St Collins play Drumkieran at 1:30 in Fina, while Glencar Manor Hamilton host Kiltubrid in Bugaun at 1:30 also on Sunday afternoon. All those games in the Junior B Football Championship, all in distinct groups though. Interesting to see who progresses to the semi-finals from those particular competitions over the weekend. In the Junior C Football Championship, again, the last games in each of the groups there. In Group 1, Mohill GAA Club host Leitrim Gaels at 1:30 in Park Philip McGuinness in Mohill, while Bronagh and Ballinamore will do battle in the Junior C Championship Group 2 in Bronagh. All of those junior men's matches throwing in at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. Now in soccer this weekend, there are some games of interest to Leitrim people from a National League point of view. Niall Moran and his Sligo Rovers team will play Finn Harps in a crunch game to decide the relegation situation in Sligo. Sligo have had a good run up to now, and they'll be hoping to continue that to move themselves safely away from that Finn Harps situation. Defeat would leave them just 2 points ahead of the relegation rivals, while a victory would put 8 points between them, and with only 8 games left in the season would virtually ensure their survival and really kickstart a European campaign, which would have been beyond the wildest dreams of nearly all of Sligo's supporters at the start of the season. So Niall will be hoping to really take advantage of that on Monday evening at 7:45 in the showgrounds in Sligo. Also at senior level in the Women's National League, Derval O'Byrne of Mohill will be travelling to Wexford to play Wexford Youths at 6:30 tomorrow evening, Saturday evening. They've had a great start to the league campaign so far, herself and her Peamount United teammates, and they'll be looking to retain their league title with a big clash against Wexford. They've been thereabouts this in the last couple of years, also with the Women's National League, and they'll be looking to consolidate this year. So it's the first big test they've had this season, and be interesting to see how Peamount get on with that. They will go into the game as favourites, as the defending champions. But it is a repeat of last year's cup final where Wexford upset the odds, a late Kylie Murphy strike giving the Wexford side the win on that occasion. Finally, Muireann Devaney and her Sligo Rovers under 17 women, they finally get their season up and running. Their game kicks off tomorrow at 2 p.m. at IT Sligo when they host Shamrock Rovers, who are new to the league this season. So the very best luck to Muireann and her teammates. Of course, Muireann also in action in the ladies football semi-finals on Sunday. In terms of the up-and-coming potential future internationals and National League players, we have 2 fixtures this weekend in the Gaynor Cup, and that's the women's underage regional competitions, and Sligo and Leitrim are represented at both under 15 and under 13 level, and we have 2 Leitrim representatives in the under 15 squad, and they play the Donegal League tomorrow in Ballinamore at 12 noon. That's tomorrow Saturday. Anya McLaughlin and Circa Feely will be in action for them from a Leitrim point of view, and the under 13s are in action before that at 10 a.m. kickoff, and that they are represented by Leitrim girls Megan Rooney, Amy Malone and Vanessa Vochnik, and I apologise for how badly I've just butchered your name, Vanessa Vochnik, there in the under 13 squad for the Sligo Leitrim League. So some really good promising youngsters coming through at underage level through the systems that are there, the emerging talent groups that are there, based in Sligo, but very definite Leitrim representation on those particular sides. So the very best look at to them. Victories would see them top their group and qualify for the actual Gaelic competition proper. Now, a couple of other club notices that have come in, and Trident Swimming Club in Carrick and Shannon have had a few inquiries from swimmers interested in joining the club, and they are planning to hold a trials day shortly to fill the few spaces that are available. The spaces are in the younger groups. So what they're looking for from swimmers who wish to join is the ability to swim 50 metres of freestyle, 50 metres of breaststroke, 50 metre of backstroke, and 25 metres butterfly. An interest in racing and entering competitions at a later date is also, you have to be aiming towards that. It's a competitive team. If this sounds like your child, you can send Trident a message on their Facebook page. Just search for Trident Swimming Club in Carrick and Shannon, County Leitrim, and you will find them on Facebook. Drop them a message and they will let you know when those trials are taking place. So, very competitive team and good results over the years. They've had some really, really good swimmers nominated for our Athlete of the Month competition. So, well worth checking out if you have a dolphin or a fish at home. Get them in the water and hopefully get them competitive at that level. The best luck to everyone in Trident Swim Club as well. And finally, the Carrick and Shannon Rowing Club extend an invitation to join them for their annual general meeting on Sunday at 11 a.m. The meeting will take place via Zoom due to the current restrictions. So if any member, past, present, or perhaps even for the future would like to join, please send them an email to carrickrc@gmail.com. They're also looking for any ex-rowers or coaches who may wish to join the coaching team. And so now they reckon it's an ideal time to enable more participants in their sport, while they thank all the outgoing committee for all their sterling work in this very difficult year. No doubt we will see many enthusiastic returning faces to their committee. I'm sure it's not in the note, but I'm sure they're always looking for people to help out, as is every club around the country. And it's becoming to that time of the year when AGMs start kicking around and people start looking towards next year and maybe their volunteering commitments and what they can and can't do to help their community. So a massive thank you to everybody who gets involved behind the scenes in all of our clubs. And I know it's not an easy and it's often a thankless task. So well done to everybody. Now, in terms of the actual body of the show, we have a number of interviews today, and we're going to be talking a little bit later to one lady who has an absolutely crazy adventure lined up next week. 660 kilometres on two wheels, all human-powered on a bicycle. Lorraine McGlynn of Rooskey is going to be taking on her own personal cycle against suicide in aid of the well-known Irish charity. I'll be chatting to her later in the programme. But first we're going to talk up to some of the participants ahead of this weekend's Senior Ladies Football Championship. Now, we did try to get somebody from Kiltubrid. These were all recorded prior to their statement on Thursday night on the basis that all games were going ahead when they were recorded. Now, we didn't actually manage to get someone from Kiltubrid. We did invite a couple of people in, but unfortunately no one was available to come and have a chat with us. Whether that's linked to their COVID situation or not, I don't know, but I can understand why people were reluctant to come and talk to us if that is the case. However, we did speak to the other three participants over the weekend, and we're going to hear from defending champions St. Joseph's, and their well-established forward Bronagh O'Rourke is going to talk us through their plans and their preparation for this year's semi-final as they get to the business end of the championship. Now, reigning county champions St. Joseph's are gearing up for a semi-final ahead of their 4-in-a-row attempt over the next 2 weeks. I'm joined by their forward, Bronagh O'Rourke, to talk about their chances. Bronagh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bethany.
It's been an interesting 3 years for St. Joseph's, but let's talk about this season in particular. And I suppose you've been kingpins in the county for the last 3 years. We knew about Glencar Manor coming up hot in your tails over the last couple of seasons. They've been in the county final for the last 2 years. But now Ballinamore are hot on your tails too, and maybe a little bit out of left field. How has the season gone so far for you this year?
Well, it's not surprising at all that Ballinamore are where they are. We're acutely aware of probably their underage, of who they have and what they have, because of the relationship we would have had with their minor team, the St. Phelan's team. So it's definitely not surprising that they're still competing in the latter stages of the championship. But yeah, I suppose our season, it's probably a different structure to other years because of COVID. So we got 5 weeks with 5 games, so it was definitely challenging on girls, especially if you were fielding 2 teams. But I thought we manoeuvred our way through it quite well while still fielding both teams. And it's a great opportunity for everyone to get football and definitely try and catch up on the games that we did miss during lockdown. But I suppose we were kind of slow starters and we've kind of moseyed our way on through. And, it's now that we really need to be, starting off well. And, this Sunday is definitely a taste that we need to start doing it, because obviously it's knockout now. There's no second chances at all.
Is there disappointment within the club that you didn't manage to finish top of that group?
I know, sure, you're going to get a challenge off every team, and they pose different challenges, and Ballinamore did that to us. We found ourselves with a massive deficit and found our way back, and it probably would have been unfair of us to win that game. So a draw was probably fair, but I think once we made it through the semi-finals, that's all that really mattered. I don't think we really were saying, we should be placed here, we should be placed there. Just once we make it to semis was just the most important part, really.
Of course, now you're well used to this stage of real tough football in the last couple of games of a championship campaign. You've been thereabouts for the last few years, as we've mentioned a few times on the show. But in terms of this weekend, this Glencar Manor team so well. 2 of the last county finals. You've played them in league competition over the years as well. You've drawn with them already this season. What's it like facing into playing that team so regularly and knowing that you have to get one up on them or find something new where you can exploit it over the weekend?
Yeah, look, I suppose it is difficult because there's very little room to manoeuvre, because we do know ourselves very well, but I honestly think it'll just kind of come down to the basic, ball handling skills and that kind of thing. If it's a wet or a dry day, that'll all come into play. Small little wins like that. If it's a good day, it's going to help the forwards. If it's not, it's going to help the backs. So I just think it's going to be really small things that's going to win it for whoever. But, we're used to playing teams numerous times. This is no different. There's many years in the past that we would have played even Dromahare twice or 3 times in 1 year. So it's just something we have to deal with, but it just means that there's very little room to make any mistake, put it that way.
There seems to be a really good team spirit and a club spirit down there in Carrigallen and Havas at the moment. I suppose the All In for Aina campaign kind of showcased how strong that spirit can be.
Oh yeah, I suppose something like that definitely puts everything into perspective. We're just playing a game of football, but I suppose it just shows the power of a club, what they can do for people off the field. So it's been fantastic, the response we got, and especially from all the clubs around the county. It's great to see that support, because we'd definitely do the same if there was any other club in need with anything. So it definitely just showed the spirit of Leitrim ladies in general.
In terms of the game on Sunday, what are you expecting? What can people expect? Of course, there won't be a crowd, but if people can get a chance to see it, I think the game has been streamed live. We don't have final details on that, but what can people expect during the 60 minutes on Sunday?
Yeah, look, it's probably going to be a different kind of feeling. It's going to be very quiet with no supporters, but I suppose we've kind of had a trial run with that 2 weeks ago, so we'll be used to that. But I'd say it'll be very cagey for a while, but like any other game, it'll start to open up, and it'll be about who again just does the simple things right, the ball handling and all that kind of thing. But it'll definitely be a very physical and fast-paced game at the same time. Manor have very good forwards and really strong players all around the field who are really, really fit. So you're going to see a fast game, I'd say.
How are you looking forward to yourself? How's your preparation been?
Yeah, it's been grand. It's as best as possible. It's probably, you're kind of anxious now just to get going and play it. There's a couple of days left, but it's where every team wants to be, so you have to be looking forward to it. A bit of nerves is good, but you're definitely looking forward to it. You want to be competing in these difficult games, and we are where we want to be, and Manor is where they want to be. So it's exciting for both teams, definitely.
Yeah, there's been very little between you over the last few meetings, but in terms of Sunday, what are you going to need to do and get really right in order to win the game?
I suppose starting well, Breffney. I guess we're probably a bit slow to the mark in the past couple of games, so even just trying to up that a few percent will be beneficial. Just starting well is a good head start for any team. So just trying to keep with them as best as possible and see where we are after the first or second water break. But just trying to tune in straight away will be the first thing anyway you'll be looking at.
In terms of the actual competition level within the county, it's great to see three teams, because we've always had one team dominating, whether it was Ahowillan back in the day for a decade or so. Clune had a couple of years. Mohill have had a chance, then Dromahare, and now yourselves. Is it nice to have that competition so that it actually means something? Not that it didn't mean anything previously, but that you really have to fight to earn this title. It's not just maybe one or two teams in a final, that you have to actually even qualify for a semi-final is going to be really, really tough now.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I think you have to look at it from an overall view. It's great for the county team and underage county team that there's a third team in there fighting. It definitely just helps the overall progression of the game. So it is good to see a new team up there, and you want lots of teams competing at the highest level as much as possible. So from an overall perspective, it's definitely good that Ballinamore are definitely pushing up there. And that all ties in with underage. When you're underage, see that your senior ladies are going well. That helps. That you kind of engage more younger girls to play football. So it all kind of comes full circle. So it's great overall. Yeah.
Absolutely. I better mention Kiltubrid had a little period of dominance in there too, or nobody will speak to me around Drumcong. Listen, Bronagh O'Rourke, thank you so much for joining me. The very best of luck to you and your teammates as you go in search of a fourth consecutive ladies senior county title on Sunday in the semi-final, ahead of potentially a final later in the summer. Thank you so much for joining me.
Cheers, Breffney. Thanks.
Now, of course, St. Joseph's beat Glencar Manor Hamilton in last year's final, and the Northerners also provide the opposition for their semi-final on Sunday. During the week, I caught up with Mellissa Hewitt, who was managing to juggle playing senior club football with motherhood as well. Let's hear what she had to say about keeping all of the balls in the air. Sunday afternoon sees the clash of Glencar Manor against St. Joseph's, a repeat of last year's county final, and I'm joined by Mellissa Hewitt of Glencar Manor to discuss her side's chances ahead of the weekend's game. Mellissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How has it been going for you up there? Because you've had a bit of a strange one, a lot of competition maybe that you mightn't have expected.
Yeah, I suppose this year's it's gone very well so far. We've had bigger numbers than we've ever had. So I suppose it's good in a way. We have two teams and everyone's pushing each other on for places, and nobody ever knows if they're going to get starting or what team they're going to be on, and it's very good.
In terms of the season, obviously a changed format, so 6 teams all in the one group rather than 2 smaller groups of 3. It means you've had a chance to look at everybody going into the knockout stages. Who's impressed you?
Well, I've said from the very start of the year that Sean O'Heslins would be definitely ones to watch. So I suppose they're definitely impressed us. St. Joseph's are always up there. Everybody that we've played so far has been a tough battle.
Yeah, and of course this Sunday sees you in a semi-final. You finished third in the group, and I suppose a defeat to Sean O'Heslins, a draw with St. Joseph's, and now you face St. Joseph's again. It's your second time in 2 weeks to play them. Of course, it's a repeat of last year's county final as well. How well do you know this particular group of players from Carrigallen and Aughvas?
Well, I suppose we've come up against each other, I don't know how many times in the last couple of years. I suppose I wasn't part of the panel last year, but from playing them, we know each other pretty well. Both teams, I suppose, have everybody back this year, like nobody's abroad or, away for college or anything like that. So it'll be slightly different, but I think we know each other pretty well at this stage.
Are you hoping it's going to go? Well, obviously you're hoping it's going to go different to last year's county final, but I suppose give us an analysis of what the preparation has been like from the Manor Hamilton club, because I suppose it's been a case of 2-0 for St Joseph's when it matters in county finals. Now it's semi-final stage. You'll be looking to maybe chalk one up on the Glencar Manor side of that equation.
Of course. We'd always hope, obviously, to win, but I suppose in the last couple of years, St Joseph's have just had that bit of experience more than us. We have a pretty young side, and I suppose they're well organised and experienced. So hopefully, over the last few years, we've learned a bit. So we're hoping this will be our year.
Obviously, you're a very young side last year. You lost that county final very closely in the end. But that team is that little bit more experienced, that year older. The girls maybe just progressing out of underage ranks and starting to maybe find their feet in a senior team. How much does having the calibre of players that you've come through there, maybe it's 16, 17, 18, really help the bunch of girls maybe who are slightly a bit longer in the tooth?
I suppose it's pushed us on, definitely, us kind of older ones. Nobody's guaranteed a place. All the younger ones are there. You know, any one of them could walk onto the team. So I suppose that in itself has really pushed everybody on. We learn from the younger ones, and I suppose the younger ones learn a bit from us. So yeah, it's been really good.
Now, I do want to ask you about something, and you mentioned earlier you weren't playing last year, and that, of course, is because you were becoming a mother for the first time. So congratulations on that. I know it's a year old at this stage. I'll say it. I mean, yeah. The news is a year old. Your child is also a year old. But it's quite a unique situation that maybe most of our listeners aren't familiar with. They're used to the traditional idea of football, well, boys playing. They play it till whatever age they can get away with it. They don't have the distractions of being pregnant and being unable to play, dealing with children and the care on a hour-to-hour basis rather than a day-to-day basis. Lads just seem to get away with that and have done over the years. So how difficult is it to mix work, motherhood and football?
Oh, it's very hard. It can be exhausting sometimes, but at the same time it's good to get out, and mix with other people and get exercise and fresh air and all that. It can be very hard to kind of get your fitness back, and I suppose trying to get onto such a good team. But like that, all the younger girls pushed the likes of myself on, and made me push myself out of my comfort zone. So it is very hard, but there's 6 or 7 mothers on our team, and I suppose we all kind of help each other, with advice and things like that. So it's hard, but it's definitely worth it.
And any amount of babysitters, obviously, from the 15, 16, 17-year-olds you're playing with.
That's it. Loads of them.
In terms of football, how are you enjoying being back after that year break? Although it wasn't a break as such, but that year off playing football, what's it like being back actually in the fold?
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. It's like I said, it was very hard to kind of get back, but I suppose the lads pushed us really hard, and we all pushed each other, and it's I'm definitely glad I did come back, and hopefully I'll be here for another few years.
And of course, Glencar Manor, 2 years as beaten finalist, and looking to get maybe back to that stage with a win on Sunday. But I suppose in previous years, it's always kind of been a 2-horse race at the start of the year. People can identify who's going to be thereabouts come the final. This year, there's very much a case of 3 teams, and anybody could win it. How do you think it's going to pan out? Obviously, your heart is always going to say Glencar Manor, but how do you see the next 2 weeks panning out for ladies football in the county?
Gosh, honest to God, I couldn't call it. I don't think anybody knows who's going to win. It's so close. I suppose it all depends on who wants it more on the day. But it'd be a very, very hard one to call now.
Okay, well, listen, Mellissa Hewitt. Sorry, I'll start that again. Well, listen, Mellissa Hewitt, thank you so much for joining me. Big, massive match at the weekend for everybody involved in Glencar Manor on the ladies' side of the house. Of course, looking to reach your 3rd consecutive senior ladies county final in the county. It's going to be an exciting period of time. Wish you the very best luck. I hope you get a good night's sleep as well. That always helps.
Fingers
crossed. The best of luck to you and your teammates on Sunday.
Thanks a million.
And finally, I'm joined by Roisin McHugh of Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins, and she's going to tell us all about the upstarts in this year's championship and where Ballinamore have put themselves right in the mix to compete for this county championship. Of course, their game all under doubt at the moment because of the situation in Kiltubrid, but they are due to play Kiltubrid on Sunday afternoon, and at this time of recording this, that game does go ahead, albeit with that 48-hour suspension just expiring on Saturday night for that throw-in on Sunday afternoon. So keep an eye on our social media for further information as that story develops. But here is Roisin to talk about their preparations and how the season has gone for Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins. Now on Sunday afternoon in Leitrim Village, Ballinamore, the surprise packages to some of this weekend's semi-finals. They topped the group in the group stages of the Ladies Senior Football Championship, and I'm joined by their centre forward Roisin McHugh to have a chat with us ahead of Sunday's game. Roisin, welcome to the programme.
Thanks very much, Breffney.
It's exciting times for the club. I know it hasn't been great on one side of the fence in terms of the boys with their defeat last week, but the girls have been getting tongues wagging up and down the county over the last few weeks. You topped the group in fine style. You must be delighted with how the season's gone so far.
Yeah, to be honest, we didn't expect too much with the way the year was going with the coronavirus and all, but it's great to get playing football to begin with. In fairness, we did a lot of training ourselves during the lockdown, and it seemed to pay off throughout our games. It really stood to us, so we were delighted about that.
In terms of the actual results, though, I think you picked up a couple of nice results at the start of the championship, a fairly heavy victory to no score against St. Bridget's, but it was the draw in Carrigallen where you burst into a considerable lead against St. Joseph's, the county champions, and it looked like you were going to power away. Now, they did come back and draw the game eventually, but that day, was that what you were expecting? Were you expecting to get such an early jump on St. Joseph's that day?
Well, to be honest, we went up to Carrigallen with absolutely no fear, and we decided to just throw everything we had at that game. We were able to cut in very well for goals at crucial times, and it worked very well for us in the first half. In the second half, they kind of found their bearings a bit, and maybe we were lucky with the draw in the end. But yeah, we were very, very happy with our first half performance there especially. And it was good to be able to put up to the county champions of 3 years. And of course,
Glencar Manor were the up-and-coming team that people expected to see challenging this year. And they travelled to Ballinamore, but you had a good, solid victory, and you've really put yourselves in the frame for this championship now.
We put in a very, very good performance that day. When the game got hot, we didn't back down, and fair play to the subs that came on. They made a great difference. Emma Honeyman came on and scored a goal within 2 minutes when we really needed it. So it's all about the panel we have rather than the 15 players we have play very well, but the subs that come on we depend on them to make a difference, and they did that day, thankfully.
Talk to us a bit about what's going on behind the scenes there in the club on the women's side, because you've been reasonably competitive at senior level, but you've just about held your own over the last couple of years. What's the difference this year, other than Sarah McLaughlin not being available? She won't thank me for that. What's the difference this year for the girls in the club? Because it just seems that you've really kicked it up a gear.
Well, to be honest, we're training very hard this year. Well, we have other years, but we've really put in a great amount of effort this year. We're training a few times a week, and it's great that we've such a big panel that the drills can go so much more smoothly, and you have a lot more choice of different drills to do, and there's so many people at training. And as well, a lot of the younger girls have really stepped it up this year. Megan McGovern at midfield has been outstanding this year, and Niamh Donoghue a corner forward, and in the backs Grania Pryor and Abby Sweeney. They've just been great, and we couldn't ask much more of them, and it really makes a difference when the young ones drive the older players on, and it's great to see.
Obviously, you've got some household names in terms of ladies football in the county when you've got the O'Dowds and you've got Emma McGovern and others who have played county football over the years, but it's that group of youngsters coming through that have really been the backbone of this team, supporting the work of those maybe higher profile players.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a few man show with us. It's really a team effort, and we're such good friends behind it all as well, and I think that really makes a difference. It makes the bond a lot stronger, and it really shows on the pitch when you trust your teammates.
In terms of Sunday, what's the mood in the camp? Is there confidence? Is there a little bit of concern or worry? I know you haven't got past this stage before.
Well, we're very much looking forward towards this game. It's going to be a very big day for us. I know semi-finals at senior level is a whole different ball game from the games earlier on in the year, but we're very much looking forward to the challenge and seeing what Kiltubrid throw at us. We're definitely not going to underestimate Kiltubrid because they've been such a strong team over the past few years, and hopefully if we bring a positive attitude and a great deal of hard work, hopefully we'll be able to get the result on Sunday.
Yeah, it's kind of strange to be sitting here talking about Kiltubrid in a county semi-final and them not be the favourites going into it because they've been so dominant over the last decade or so. Does that favourites tag sit heavy on you, or are you comfortable that you can carry that along with your teammates on Sunday?
Oh no, I don't think it makes a difference. You take every game as it comes, and as I said, a semi-final is a completely different ball game, and our focus is completely on Sunday, and we're looking for a very good performance, and that's what will be needed to beat Kiltubrid on Sunday.
Yeah, you've got 2 big games ahead of yourselves, potentially to get your hands on that championship trophy. I think if people had said 12 months ago that you were going to be in this position, outside of Ballinamore at least, people might not have believed that you'd make such a big improvement. In terms of the group, is there a confidence there that there's a championship in this team?
That's what we'd like to think so anyway. It'll probably take us a few years to build up to get to a high stage, but this seems to be the very first year, so it's all a learning experience for us, as we're a young enough team anyway, but hopefully the future is bright for the next few years, and hopefully we'll be a team to watch out for.
I've no doubt you're here for a little while. There seems to be this cyclical experience in Leitrim ladies football where teams come in for maybe a 4 or 5 year period. We've seen Kiltubrid do it, we've seen O'Heslins do it for much longer than that, but now I think Ballinamore and Glencar Manor seem to be coming up as St. Joseph's have come down a bit, so the 3 of you are on a fantastic level playing field all season. There's been draws and very tight games between you, and I've no doubt that over the next 2 or 3 weeks as we get to a county final stage, there's going to be some absolutely cracking games, and hopefully you're there in the middle for the 1 or 2 of those games. Looking forward to it. Roisin, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and the very best of luck on Sunday.
Thanks very much, Breffney.
Now for something a little bit different on the show, and I'm joined by one lady from almost from Leitrim. She's from Rooskey. She works in Towerbarry, and she is going to be undertaking a massive challenge next week to cycle 660 kilometres around the country in just 4 days to try and raise funds and awareness for suicide prevention charity Cycle Against Suicide. Lorraine McGlynn, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thanks very much, Bethany. Thanks for having me on.
Well, you reached out to us during the week and we just thought we had to have you on the show. Obviously, a charity I'm very close to myself and have taken part in over the years, and it's a cause very close to my own heart. But tell us a little bit about the charity, first of all, and why you've been inspired to take on this challenge next week.
The charity is Cycle Against Suicide. I actually took part in it last year, and I just done 3 days of it. I thought the experience was one in a lifetime, and I definitely wanted to go back and do it again. And this year I said I would fundraise just to raise awareness, especially now more than ever in the times that we are in it. And with that, I had the help with Cycle Against Suicide supporting me all the way.
And of course, you had intended to take part in the normal national cycle, which happens every year in April, May time around the bank holiday. But that, of course, fell by the wayside this year through COVID. So you came up with your own plan.
It did. We were meant to start from the 5th to the 10th, and we had our own map and our own route. But unfortunately, due to COVID, it was actually cancelled. But because I had begun my training and my fundraising, I decided to go ahead and pursue it myself with the help of another guy called Stephen Mullally. And he's been a massive help with me throughout this whole experience. So he has came up with our route, and we're going to start our cycle on Monday. And on Monday, we cycle from Dublin to Ballinasloe. Tuesday will be Ballinasloe to Longford. Wednesday will be Longford to Cavan, and Thursday will be Cavan back to Dublin. And on that day, which is actually known as World Suicide Day, World Prevention Day, we will be lighting a candle at the end of our cycle.
And is there any significance in the route or the distance or why have you picked those locations?
I think we picked those locations because basically when the Cycle Against Suicide was meant to be going ahead, it was in around a similar route, but it was 616 kilometres over 5 days. So we have made it a bit harder. We like a challenge, I know. So that's why we decided to kind of keep it similar enough to what we were originally doing.
It sounds like a great couple of days ahead of you. I hope you get the weather for it, because it hasn't been great the last few weeks. What's the weather forecast like?
No, it hasn't been great, it's right. I predict we'll probably have Storm Aiden. But no, I'm only joking. Hopefully now, even if it's dry, we'll be doing well. We've the help then of Brian Kerr, who's going to be our driving us on the cycle as well, and keeping us safe and healthy, while obviously adhering to the guidelines as well. So what we were hoping to do was just raise awareness, and we've both of our Facebook pages set up to fundraise to Cycle Against Suicide. So anyone can make a donation online. Even at work, I have a sponsorship card, which a lot of my clientele have been coming in and donating and sponsoring as well, for anyone who didn't want to physically do it online.
Yeah, of course, it's a massive challenge, I suppose, for people to get out and support events like this, given the current restrictions on movement and people's, I suppose, living arrangements. But in terms of the online stuff, can you give us a specific address online that people can search for or go to make a donation?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Facebook page is Lorraine McGlynn, and it's on my Facebook page, and it's as simple as hit the donate button and you can donate how much you like, and also all the proceeds go to Cycle Against Suicide.
Excellent. Well, the very, very best of luck to you and to Stephen as you undertake this massive challenge. It's hard enough in a big group. From experience back in, I think a couple of times I took part 4 or 5 years ago. It's a big enough challenge to get these distances nailed down in a big group, but in ones or twos, particularly in inclement weather, if that does hit, it's a massive challenge. I wish you the very best of luck, and as you take on these kind of trips to Ballinasloe, onto Longford, you might actually tip into Leitrim a little bit on that day. I'm not quite sure of your route.
I think we actually might, to be fair. And obviously, when we tip into Longford, we're going to end at the Longford Shopping Centre if anyone would like to come out and show their support, and obviously keep the 2 metre distance and wave to wish us luck. And we'll arrive there on Tuesday evening. We'll be keeping everything updated and posted on Facebook, so you have an exact day and time and location, if we were running a few minutes early or a few minutes behind.
Yeah, no, I remember in 2015 when I did the full cycle, we had 14 days on the bike. It was a much longer event at that point. 14 days on the bike. One day it didn't rain, and that was the day in Leitrim. So I know you'll get good. I know you'll get good weather on Wednesday at least. You know, but the rest I can't vouch for. Lorraine, thank you very much for joining me. The very best of luck. Great cause, great charity.
Thank you very much, Bethany.
And I wish you the best of luck. And that, folks, is all we have time for today. Thank you very much to everyone who joined me on today's show. The best of luck to everybody taking part in those championship semi-finals at all grades in the ladies competition and those final junior games. They've been kind of my highlight of the summer, if I'm going to be honest. I really enjoyed those junior games, and some of the content that we've got out of them has been the absolute tops in terms of the reaction that we've got from you, the listeners. This has been episode 222 of the show, well over 200 episodes and counting now, as we keep bringing you all the news and all of the reaction across the world of Leitrim sport. We'll be back on Monday with another sports roundup show. Talk to you then.